It is
Hell yeah.
done.
All right.
Gone live.
Okay.
Brett's chili peppers are on fire.
Heck yeah.
Brand new batteries, baby.
They're red hot.
Oh, just for tonight.
Got the flamingo going.
Yeah, he's hot too.
James looking particularly well lit there, my friend.
Yeah. Just, making sure I got 2 light sources on me at all times, just like a professional would.
You got to get that shading right. You got to get the light, the shadow. You got to
Yeah.
nail it. Especially if we're going to convince you to show off the tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Well, um,
Or do we need to wait for the final version, its final
yeah.
evolution?
So the story is that it's about 60% done. I sat in the chair for like 7 hours and the dude was like, "We have to stop. You're going to run out of plasma." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I guess we're done for the day." He was pretty impressed that I sat for 7 hours for my first tattoo. Now, that's not to say it didn't hurt because oh my god, it did.
Yeah, that's a long session. No doubt about it. That is a
Yeah,
long
and
session.
the line work was fine. I could just sort of like space out and ignore the line work. But when he was doing the coloring, oh, that's a different animal altogether. Because instead of using one needle, right, for efficiency's sake, it's like 5 or 6 and a little line, and he's just like pow, 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 pow.
Did your
And
did your artist happen to tell you the opposite before it started?
no,
No, it's funny
no.
because yeah, I've been told. I've had some people tell me that have gotten them as well, that like the line work was tough, but the shading was rough.
Yeah, the shading is way worse because it's 5 needles or
Yeah.
more, 5 or 6. It's a lot. Anyways, and you can't ignore that. You're just sort of like, okay, I'm living in this pain. We're doing this, and I will say it's pretty worth it because it looks pretty rad. I showed him a couple of pictures. It was like this Gengar has to be purple, and aside from that, you follow your heart, and so he's gonna. Um,
You get a
yeah,
close look at some of those shading needles or coloring needles. Look like a rake. It's
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
you don't want to get a close look, put it that
yeah,
way.
yeah. It's pretty rad. I'm gonna try and get my appointment booked for the next one here as soon as I can, as soon as I can get a hold of the guys and get them to set it up. And yeah, it's gonna be dope.
And you know what the theme of that there tattoo was? Video games.
That's right.
Talk about that.
Hmm.
Right here, right now, fine Monday evening, where the sun's still up. I'm kind of liking that.
Yeah, it's dope.
Take that natural light any way I can get it. Woohoo! Vitamin D, baby.
That's right.
Now, James, why don't you give me some vitamin video games? Tell me what you've been playing.
Okay, well let's start off with Terra Nil because I want to. I don't have a reason. Um, I played a preview for it like I'm gonna say last year, but it might have even been further back than that. Played a preview for it a million years ago, and it's a cool concept. Kind of like instead of a city builder, it's a nature builder where you're putting all these complicated structures in place to restore the environment to its optimal condition. So you're irrigating, you're putting down grass seed, you're revitalizing river channels, you're laying down tundra and like moss and like you're doing controlled burns so you can like get trees going and scanning for animal life, trying to help that come back with the optimal conditions. That's actually a cool thing that that's different from the preview builds is that uh one of the new conditions you can scan for and produce the right conditions for certain kinds of animal life for like higher completionist scores, and you can also modify the climate, so like humidity and temperature. um and you can get tools to like raise or lower those things as you see fit because certain kinds of like environmental features can't exist without the right temperature and climate. And it's cool. It's a weird vibe where it's very chill, but at the same time it's still a Devolver Digital game, so like pretty tough. But like if you fuck up, you're just like, oh, I guess I'll just try again. I don't know. I think I figured out what I have to do now. And you know, if you keep at it and you're patient, you can do it in like eight 8 hours, maybe 10 at a stretch. But it's a good, cool experience pretty much the whole time. Um, I
So this
really
is
appreciate this.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I really appreciate the sound design because when you lay down, because you like prepare a certain amount of ground with like irrigation, for example, so that shit
Ooh.
can grow there. And then you lay down this thing. There was just like, all right, we're gonna send some water out and some grass is gonna grow. And then just the sound of that is just like, whoosh, just kind of like a cascading whoosh as like the it goes all goes green. That rules. Or like the sound of the controlled burn is great. Or like sound of like the recycling machines as like all your mechanics are like reabsorbed into the system. That's the other cool thing is that once you've like greened up a place and we're like, all right, this looks great. Animals can live here. This is fucking awesome. You do a recycling process where like you send these drones out to just like scoop all your shit up. And then once every last trace of your fucking existence has been wiped from the map, you just take off and go to another area. It's
Huh.
cool. Yeah.
So it's like if Wally was actually doing his job and restoring the earth.
Yeah, and a portion of the sales goes to an environmental charity whose name I've forgotten because I'm not that good of a person.
As long as the
But
money's going, it really
yeah, it's a
matters.
percent. There's a percentage of pre-order sales and then a percentage of game sales
Hmm.
that are going to this charity. So
That- the
yeah.
gameplay that we're watching, it looks interesting. Is this kind of a linear thing, or is it something you'd want to replay?
Um, there's a certain amount of replay value because you don't have to like 100% complete every biome. You just get it to a certain degree, and it's just like, all right, this is where we're at. This is good. And like, there's different strategies every time you can use, and like as you learn more, you can definitely come back. I could see a person running through it and then like revisiting it in a few months and like, I think I could do better. You know,
Hmm.
I think I could improve upon my previous performance. And there's like difficulty settings, which I had turned basically all the way down because I'm a scrub. But like they really do is like improve how many resources you start with and like decrease the cost of certain activities because you can sort of like build yourself into a corner where it's like, well, you're completely out of resources, but the area is still fucked. So try again. Yeah.
Cool. And
Yeah.
this guy's out now, or
Mm-hmm. A review dropped this morning, so you can check that out on cogconnectors.com. Um, if you want
that's the
a
website?
slightly longer breakdown. Yep.
That is the
Um,
website where the writing occurs.
that's right. That's
Sweet.
where I do my own writing and I make sure that Oxford commas go in everybody else's writing.
I mean,
Speaking of which, yeah. Yes, Oxford fucking commas. Yes, I can say it right now. Everybody listening, I know. Oh, there's some debate about the matter. Great, I don't care. Oxford comma.
now I recently heard it also referred to as a serial comma.
Okay, like if you want to tomato this thing, then by all means. But
Yeah,
it's, at the end of the day, I want to see him.
like a serial killer, but for commas.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, this looks
Yeah.
pretty good. Uh,
Oh
always
yeah.
nice to have one of those palate cleanser kind of things.
Hmm.
Where you don't have to you don't have to feel while you're doing this.
Yeah. And like, but you will feel kind of zen, but that's about it. That's the extent. That's fine.
I think I would argue that Zen is lack of it's awareness, not
Mm. That's fair. Okay. Okay. I don't know enough about the word I just used to really refute that, so we're gonna go with it.
fair.
Yeah.
Rhett, how about you? What have you been doing? What have you been doing?
I've been playing a lot. You want to talk PSVR?
I mean, not.
So
Let's do it.
I got the thing. Uh, oh, no, it wasn't last Thursday. It was the Thursday before.
Okay, great,
Eh,
great, great. So you had a lot of time with it.
A lot of time with it. Although it did sit for a few days before I actually opened it.
Hmm.
I figured it was probably best to get my work with COG done before I actually opened the thing, because I figured that WWE review never would have gotten done if I hadn't done that. But finally, so when I cracked into it, the first thing that I touched was No Man's Sky. And I'll be honest, not great. Not a great experience on PSVR. The reasoning for this, fans of the game seem to believe that Sean Murray and company were essentially forced to get the PSVR 2 update out for the game to be ready day one.
Oh.
So essentially what you have is the PSVR 1 version playing on PSVR 2, which means
Oh.
it's a I don't want to say it's a blurry mess, but it's blurry. It's blurry, you know? Plus there are things like they force you to use the PSVR 2 controllers, whereas with that game, I find that it's almost better to use a controller, because using the PSVR controllers to control flight doesn't really feel that great. You need to have, like that HOTAS stick that's actually like on a base and you can maneuver it better. It's very easy to start turning and spinning, and you lose your bearings very, very quickly using the PSVR controllers. So that experience wasn't honestly, it was a letdown. It was a letdown. I won't lie. There is apparently going to be an update that'll come out later this year to improve it, but that remains to be seen. Although I do trust them in getting an update out, because clearly they have been devoted to that game. So then I went ahead and I tried Resident Evil Village. And having just come from playing Resident Evil 4 on the Oculus 2, I gotta say, Village, pretty disappointing.
Oh, Brett, you're killing me, buddy.
Pretty disappointing. Now, don't
Okay.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
With the PSVR 2, the OLED 4K screens, which I don't know why they market these as OLED 4K screens, because you are not by any means getting 4K gameplay within the headset on anything. But with that being said, they are fantastic for really rich, dark, deep blacks. And that helps Village tremendously. That opening scene where you're walking through the woods before it becomes daytime, oh man, that shit is great. And really anything where you're in like a dark area, it's fantastic. But where it kind of falls apart for me is that it feels as if Village, the VR mode, was something that was just sort of thrown together. I don't want to say like last minute, but it just feels like it was a bit more thrown together as opposed to the RE4 Oculus 2 version, because that RE4 version, it really feels like a team sat down with the base game and essentially built a new game on top of it. The tracking works a lot better. It feels a lot more intuitive. Things like reloading the guns, because the PSVR 2 controllers are so rotund, there have been a lot of times where like it'll ask you to cock back the slide of a handgun and you're bashing your controllers together.
Oh.
Yeah, not great. Not a great feeling. It looks
Mm.
good. Now, it looks a hell of a lot better than No Man's Sky did, don't get me wrong. But that was pretty, I don't know, pretty disappointing again. Especially having come from that version with those the Oculus 2 VR controllers, they're still my favorite VR controller I've used. They really are nice. They're tight. I haven't had any issues with them banging against each other. All the games, they seem to track well. And the other thing with Village is that the arms, there's some wonky arm stuff. The hands are pretty solid, but the arms, they can get kind of wonky. So overall, yeah, kind of disappointed with Village. Kind of disappointed with Village. But then I tried Gran Turismo 7, and within 10 seconds of my very first lap, I was saying to myself that this made the purchase worth it. GT7 is unbelievable on PSVR, and it is absolutely a system seller, or the reason to get the system, as far as I'm concerned right now. Paul, you summed it up perfectly when you were talking about it last time. You said it's transformative, and it is.
Yeah.
It feels like a whole new game, but not just a whole new game. It feels like something I've never experienced in gaming before. And like, I played GT Sports on the PSVR 1. I've played Assetto Corsa on the Oculus 2 on PC. This is different. GT7 is different. Everything about it just kind of comes together to really create the ultimate driving game. And now I can't see myself going back to flat screen racing. It'd be way too difficult. Man, the sense of immersion is incredible, and just the fact that your depth of field is a million times better in VR. It's different. Like, you actually feel like you're driving a car. It's one of the best like simulations I've ever been in. To the point where you're just like instinctively rocking to the left and right as you're taking sharp turns and things like that. You know, it's fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been so yeah, it's been great.
I actually
Playing
found
GT.
that playing in VR, I found the game easier.
Definitely. It 100% is easier.
You
My
know,
first few laps might not have been quite as quick as you know, after 50 hours of flat screen driving, you get to a certain skill level, and then when suddenly when things change, like I was saying, it feels like a completely different game, right? So yeah, there is maybe a little bit of time to just sort of understand that you're looking for different markers now, you know,
Yeah.
whereas opposed to if you were driving Spa, you might look for, you know, the 100-yard marker on turn 3, whereas now you don't really need to look for that marker because you're on the road, you know. It's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably pretty obvious, but yeah, it's like you said, it's fucking transformative and it's phenomenal, and I just want to play more of it.
Yeah. The ability to just look over, and look over the apex of a turn like you're supposed to do when you're, or, be able to intuitively judge where the car is next to you versus, you know, having to process visual information that you're seeing on a flat screen. If
Yeah,
someone's coming up just behind you, you can feel that the car is there because of how good the 3D audio is,
the
how it changes
mirrors are
when you move your
phenomenal.
head. Yeah,
Oh,
and using your mirrors, something I
so good.
never do that in.
The other thing I didn't even really think of, but sure enough, drifting has not only has it become more viable, but it has become a lot more fun. Because
Yeah.
again, going back to what you're saying there with the head tracking and whatnot, drifting in the past, I mean, especially in a GT game, and I know it's not really meant to be drifted in, but there are drift trials and whatnot. So if you actually do get into those, yeah, being able to turn your head and know the exact position of the rear end of your car, it's phenomenal. It's another thing that I've never experienced before in a driving game, and I just can't see myself going back to this flat screen thing now.
And equally, you might expect something like this to come out on a VR console. You would expect it to be a subset, like a small sampling, a full racing game, because that's typically what VR games are. They're like a slice of life piece of a game. But this
Yeah,
is like start to finish, play the whole dang thing in VR, and why not?
yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. And maybe I should have started with that as opposed to the other two games.
You had a narrative going. You're building
Yeah.
up. You're saying this wasn't great. This was kind of disappointing. This rocked my fucking socks off.
Man,
3D VR racing for life. You know.
I must have looked so stupid, but yeah, the first 10, 15 seconds of my first lap, I was just like laughing to myself and like I just felt like a 5-year-old kid on Christmas. It's hilarious.
Your first time going go-kart. That
Yeah. Which, by the way, as well, if you haven't done the go-kart in VR, please do.
okay,
It's so good. So good.
nice.
Yeah.
Anything else you tried on VR?
No, I've got a couple demos downloaded, but that Star Wars one, NFL Pro Era, I want to check out.
The Star Wars one looks
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's, I don't know, maybe 20 games right now for the VR too. Oh, I did play a little Tetris in VR, but that's very similar, a very similar experience to the PSVR one, which was great in the first place. So I wasn't disappointed with Tetris. It is what it is. Um, but yeah, I was gonna say there's about 20 games on the PSVR 2 on the store right now, and only it's a handful, maybe 3 or 4 of them have demos. They really need to get demos out for every single VR game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you know something is a great game, kind of need a demo because sometimes there's particular kinds of movement that just make
Yep.
some people sick, and you can be one of the strong stomached. There are definitely games out there that turned my tummy
Yeah.
for no
Yeah,
apparent reason.
that's a
Absolutely.
good point. There's just like because you won't know until you've literally played it, and it's just like, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of angry people being like, "Listen, this made me fucking throw up in my headset. Is not a good time. I need some money back and some, damages." Right? Like,
Yep. It's another thing that Oculus is doing way better than the PSVR right now is you can refund any game, no questions asked. Of course, it's kind of like Steam where you have to have a certain amount of time played or, less than a certain amount of time played. But yeah, like they do it right. You can refund anything.
You also, well, this is more a meta thing than an Oculus. You got to kind of give up your rights to every piece of data you've ever generated as a human being to to sign into the Oculus store now.
Well, they don't require a Facebook account anymore.
They retracted that then.
Oh, dude,
Because
it's been like yeah, it's been like that for a while.
huh, not know
Yeah.
that. Well, good for
Yeah.
them.
Right, but like just what you were saying, there were enough people that were saying that exact thing. They're like, Oculus, Meta, what the fuck are you guys doing? We don't even have Facebook accounts.
I don't care what you want as a company. I don't want to sit in the metaverse with digital
No,
Zuckerberg.
no, God, no.
He's robotic enough without
Yeah,
having to be in the metaverse.
yeah. We were just discussing him on a previous stream, talking about how robotic he looked. Bizarre. But anyways, Paul,
Yes, sir.
what have you been playing?
Still playing Destiny.
Oh,
okay.
oh yeah, that Lightfall.
Yeah, I mean, I finally wrote the review of the thing, uh, and like I said last time, I think it's relatively disappointing. Um, and it's a weird mix of things. The story is complete tangent from where things had been going. It's nothing side story where at the end of the experience you know nothing new. It has given you some more MacGuffins that you've kind of gone and picked up, and you know nothing about them. You know
Hmm.
really nothing about the characters. Characters that they do lean into are arguably pretty annoying and very Marvel in there needs to be a quirky character here. This is your main quest giver. He's really or they're really quirky. So I think that's a miss from a gameplay perspective. They're lucky that this is the best shooter on the market because the changes are not extensive enough. There's good quality of life updates in mod management and loadout management and things like that, which are great. No complaint there. But on the difficulty side of things, they did a really weird thing in compressing the difficulty down into toward the middle. They made casual stuff sweaty. They made the sweaty stuff more casual. The raid is arguably the easiest raid they've ever made, or one of, in the
Hmm.
conversation. But the patrol zones where you're supposed to go out and do all your Destiny 2 grinding and pick up loot and hang out with your friends and shoot some bad guys, that stuff is hard. Like there are you routinely just get wiped out by random bad guys out in the world, which I think it's just a gross misunderstanding of why people play this game. Caters too hard towards the hardcore and not enough towards the 90% of people who just want to hang out, pick up some bounties, and go shoot stuff with their friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very confusing. Although I will say that since I wrote the review, some of the content that's been in the season a little bit better than what's in the actual campaign.
Hmm.
So take that for what it's worth. At least there's still content coming out, I guess. But Destiny, you already know if you like it or not. I still like it. I don't know. Just a good palate cleanser. I know exactly what it's going to be.
Can we pour one out for Lance Reddick?
Oh, man.
That was tough.
That was actually really cool to see in the game the day after Lance passed away. Playing in the tower is kind of the central area where people congregate, and that's where his character, Commander Zavala, hangs out. And like every character that was in the tower was just standing next to the character,
Yeah.
standing there. Wow. Little video game silent vigil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. But apparently
Yeah.
there's lots of Lance still to come. Recorded quite a bit of content for the future, so character will live on. R.I.P.
Yeah.
He's a real one.
Always
Be remembered for The Wire, in my
That's
eyes.
what that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he'll always be the captain from The Wire to me.
Such a recognizable voice, though, too.
Oh fuck.
You know, you immediately know you're in for a bit of a ride when you hear a Lance Reddick character.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah. On that note, what else is going on? Anybody else play anything cool?
Oh yeah. Um. Well, I mean, I got a couple quick ones. I covered Have a Nice Death, which is a roguelike. I don't understand why I volunteered for it. I have some sort of like really abusive relationship with the entire subgenre, where I'm always like, oh, maybe this time will be good because like Hades has permanently poisoned my brain.
Oh.
Where like, oh, Hades was really great. Maybe this will be like Hades, and the answer is never yes. Hades will be like Hades. Everything else will invariably disappoint you because all I fucking want is a steady drip feed of progression and a sense that every run is doing something for me. And Have a Nice Death kind of does that, but it really doesn't do that. And like, you know, the controls are slick and the visuals are great and the concept is cool. I like all of that. It's all gravy. But fucking I'm really got to put my foot down forevermore. It's just like if you don't have some sort of progression system that makes it feel like your every fuck up run contributed in some small way to the larger picture that is your character, I don't give a fuck, man. No sale. Get it out of here. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
for
I'm with
for
you.
I'm sure for hardcore roguelike fans, whatever, they're like, "Oh man, it's all about the challenge." Like, no. I don't care. There's 1,000 challenging roguelike games out there. I've played it. I've tested it. I've swam in those waters. I'm fucking done. All right. Give me. I want an incline, a grade. You know, where I'm like ever so slowly getting stronger and ever so slowly making progress, which is fine. I don't care if it's slow. That's fine, but it has to be steady.
This looks like a carbon copy of Hollow Knight.
Oh
Not that
no.
that's a bad thing, but the visual style?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
This looks like it could be Hollow Knight too if you didn't know better.
um yeah, it's within the sphere of like 2D roguelikes. It's this presentation is slick, the controls are excellent. It feels great to play, but they do some mean shit. Like, okay, I played and earned some tokens, some coins, and I traded that in, or like I got to a certain level, and it was like, all right, you have an elevator to the first boss. I'm like, fuck yeah, great, awesome. I took that elevator a few times. I beat that first boss. I got to the second world, you know, had some trouble there. And then one time, like 5 or 6 times later, I go to take that elevator to the first boss, and it's like a beefier version of that boss that only shows up when I take the shortcut. So I'm getting punished for taking the fucking shortcut that I
Yeah.
earned in the first place. Where it's just like, oh, how about you have an unkillable version of that boss? I mean, not technically unkillable, but like, if it's the first thing you're fighting, yeah, good fucking luck, buddy. And it was just like such a like mean kick in the dick. And I was like, okay, fine. I guess I'll take the long way, you fucking pricks. And it's just like, all right, great, bye. It's just like-
Yeah,
so,
looking at this footage, it does look hard as hell,
Yeah, it looks pretty
uh,
punishing.
right?
yeah, like you eventually memorize the bosses, but like, oh, even like the second one, the food dude. Oh man, what a motherfucker that dude is.
Food dude, is that his real name?
I don't
I hope
remember
so.
anybody's real name.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say I really hope so.
He's like a burger mascot. I think he represents death by like overindulgence or something. I don't know.
Ah, is it?
And
Oh, is it kind of like a Seven Sins kind of thing? You're gonna see seven bosses, sort of like that, sort of tied to
uh,
the.
I don't know. It's not like thematically for every sin because the first
Hmm.
dude is just like literally just like a middle office manager where he's just like he's fucking up his paperwork and like not doing his job, and you're like, no, we have to handle this,
Gotcha.
and so you just go in and beat the shit out of him, and it's just like I don't even remember the story conceit as to why how this food dude is like fucking up his particular task, but he is, and yeah, all the bosses are fucking brutal, and like you're punished for using shortcuts too many times in a row, and like the currency doesn't buy you, the currency just buys you you unlock things to have a chance for them to spawn during your run. Like it's not like something you can just affix to your character in the beginning or anything like that. And there's no like stat improvement that I can really see. You're just like improving your own skills, evening the odds with like some better item drops in game, and then like I don't know, sometimes shortcuts show up. But like other than that, it's just like you and your fucking controller and the hope and prayer. And I'm off that shit. You know, I'm done.
Yeah, and I don't love structures like that where like you're saying with the too many shortcuts. Eventually getting to a point where you can't progress because you're no good. There's not doesn't sound like there's too many ways to change that narrative and move the needle.
There is
Try
not.
something different. You're just running your head into this thing because he's got a million hit points. Fuck you if you can't do it. I I get that there's an appeal and challenge. I'm not into
Yeah.
that kind of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Did you say if you played it on Switch or PC?
Switch. It's originally PC and it was ported to the Switch. It runs really well most of the time. It's just when you're starting a new level that you get this like horrific slowdown and drop frames. One time it crashed the fucking game. It was like hiccuping so hard trying to start a stage. Once a stage gets started, you're good to go. Like the frames are fine, everything moves the way it should. But just and like the elevator loading sequences would get really glitchy sometimes. But like actual in-game, in-stage play is like perfectly serviceable. Nothing wrong.
Nice. Yeah, you can never be mad at 60 frames on the Switch.
Yeah.
One other question for you. I find that a lot of these roguelites and likes, they basically live and die on the amount of content they have in them. Binding of Isaac is a good example. I know you probably haven't gone through every square inch of the game, but does it seem to be that there are dozens and dozens of hours here, or is it just a pretty quick, go through?
Um, there's decent weapon variety, and um, I don't quite know the scope of the game. I didn't finish it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna fuck you around. I'm not gonna jerk a chain. I didn't do it. Like, come on. I
Yeah.
don't. No, man.
I mean, with a game like this, you've got a pretty good idea of what it's like
You
after
do.
a
You do.
handful
You
of
really
hours,
do.
Yeah.
It's just like I could give you story details if I got into them, but I didn't, so I can't. But gameplay, I know. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know exactly what this game is.
Yeah.
Um,
Like 99% of the other roguelikes out there, like pick any of them and they're like
yeah,
that. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
if you
I've
manage to
got
get to the next stage, it's like, wow, now you're in a sewer. Okay.
yeah. It's like yeah, I've got its fucking number. Um, yeah.
Cool.
But yeah. So that was the one. I got one more. If anybody, unless anybody else has anything else I want to talk about.
Maybe do yours and then Red if you want to talk about Diablo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing I played start to finish was Shadow Warrior 3 because it dropped on Game Pass, and I liked that game a lot more than I thought I would. Main character is incredibly fucking annoying. I wish he talked less. I really do. He's kind of like a middle-aged Asian Deadpool. You know, just like two
Oh,
degrees too removed in order for that premise to still work. But here's where I got to sing Shadow Warrior 3's praises. The flow of gameplay and the level design is fucking brilliant. The reason I plowed through it and like got right to the end in like 2 days is because the game design and the way it flows from one encounter to the next and from one story beat to the next is so smooth and so seamless and so organic that you just find yourself, well, no, I obviously have to keep going to see what's next because it just fucking like barrels you into it and it feels so smooth. And like it's funny because like on paper it shouldn't work. You're just moving between, it's just like acrobatic challenges and then like combat arenas, and you just move between these two kinds of stages. It's not complicated, but the way you're sort of like there's no like hubs, there's no like, oh, you're gonna go and do this stage now. You just like start it up and you start and you fucking go, and then like the story just sort of barrels along, and then before you even fucking realize it, you're like 3/4 of the way through the end, and it's 2 in the morning. You're like, Jesus, okay, I guess this is happening. Because it's so well designed, it just sort of like nudges you along, it keeps you going, it keeps you playing, it keeps you pressing forward. It's really fucking well done. Um, the shooting feels pretty good. It's a boomer shooter to be sure. The melee stuff is actually really well implemented. Um, the acrobatics are well designed. The like first person, like you got to do crazy jumps and wall runs and stuff like that, and that all feels really good. Um, the graphics are pretty decent. It uses motion blur, which I have a strong stance against, but it's fine. A lot of games do it. I'm trying not to be too mad at people who use motion blur because a lot of people use it. I
Mhm.
realize I am not on the right side of history here, but I don't fucking care.
I mean, it is basically every game that's made in Unreal Engine.
Yeah,
Heavy on
I
the motion blur.
so gross.
Maybe they'll stop doing that with 5. I don't know.
Yes, because it's a sort of a visual band-aid where you create a sense of realism where actual fidelity can't measure up. And I understand why they do it. I can't wait till they don't have to do it anymore. But yeah, Shadow Warrior 3 is on Game Pass, and wow, what a fucking like like the game equivalent of a page turner where you're just like, oh fuck, all right, I guess I'll go to the end. Like, sweet, sick, okay, cool. And I did sort of get used to or like endured. I warmed up to the main character after a while. At first, I was like, oh man, shut the fuck up, dude. But like, I think it's like 20 or 30 minutes in, I'm like, okay, you know what? You're kind of a flawed character and kind of a clumsy fuck up, and that's really funny. And I like watching the other characters rip on you for being a complete dipshit. So that's cool. And like, there's one like your demon buddy, your demon god buddy. He's great. I liked him more than I thought I would. Yeah, it's cool.
So, James, what is it about this particular game that turned your crank? Because I know we've talked about games like this in the past that didn't land. There's one in
Um,
particular I'm thinking of, but I can't remember what it was.
well, Ghost Runner
That's the one.
was a first person with a lot of acrobatics and melee combat. The reason I didn't like that one is because you died in one hit. It's not complicated.
All right. Fair.
Yeah, that one that's like be
Yeah.
perfect all the time, get to the end of the stage. I'm like, no, no, first person melee is fucking clumsy. First person acrobatics are fucking clumsy. You can't you can't do that. I mean, you can, but you're a masochist and bless you for even trying. But no, it's really better if the design is centered around the premise that yes, it's going to be a bit of a sloppy jalopy ride. You're going to make some mistakes. Like when I say the sword combat is well implemented, I mean you can just mash the sword button and then he just sort of like waggle dangs as fast as he fucking can. And if the enemies aren't quick enough to react properly, you just cut them to ribbons. There's these dudes in the game that are also sword fighters. They have like 4 arms and as many swords. And like the sword is kind of the only way to reliably take them down. And they can still like beat the shit out of you in a sword battle, but like you can sort of like stun lock them with like a force push or like a concussive blast. And then while they're sitting there, you're just like, ah! You just dice the shit out of them until they die, and you're like, ha, 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 I win. And it's almost like a Doom kind of setup where like if you use your melee weapon, if you use the sword, then you get ammunition. But if you use guns, you get health, right? So you like switch back and forth and
Mhm.
you get this sort of rhythm going. It's good. It's good. It's a well designed game. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was gonna.
It looks really fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, is this one of the games that's leaving at the end of the month? Like, how fast do I need to go play this?
Um, I think it just got on Game Pass
Oh,
like
all right.
less than a month ago. So
Okay, and it should be there, I guess.
yep.
Brett, Diablo 4.
Is that going to be on Game Pass?
I assume it would be if
Right?
merger would go through.
Oh yeah, right. There's no way it's done within the next 2 months.
Still don't think it's going to happen. Hey,
Either way, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be there day one. I hope to maybe potentially be the one to review it. I don't know. I'm guessing it'll probably be a pretty hot commodity come June. So
That's fucking right. It will.
yeah. So but either way, if I gotta buy it, that's fine because I fucking loved the demo or the beta, I should say. It's awesome. It feels like what Diablo 3 should have been.
ooh,
Oh yeah, it feels very much like a culmination of ideas from 2 and 3.
Okay.
Uh the biggest thing is that the aesthetic, the environment, it feels like we're in Diablo again. D3 felt like we were playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance at times. You know,
Okay.
it felt too colorful for a Diablo game. And the characters and stuff, everything was just kind of like, you know, be a hero and go and do this and yeah, but Diablo 4 just drops you into this dark, grimy, dirty ass town and away you go to fight demons. And I mean there are some balancing issues, but I mean I think that was to be expected. Um but it's very very good. Uh yeah, I don't know, I put maybe 10 hours, I want to say, into 2 different characters, a
Yeah.
necromancer and a sorcerer.
Nice.
Necromancer is very much broken right now.
Yeah, in what way?
So there is basically a way to infinitely attack without without spending any like mana or essence or whatever you want to call it. And like the attacks, it's all tied into that corpse explosion ability. There's this new like sub variant of it that turns it into more of a mist, and it like spreads out, and then it's blowing things up as the mist touches it, and you just like you basically go in, you touch a button, and you just get this chain reaction of events that destroys everything on screen while you sit there and scratch your ass. So the necro definitely needs some work. The sorcerer, I would say, is, I mean, the necro, it takes a little bit of time to get there to that point. So I would say that the sorcerer is probably the easiest character to play as right now. I guess I shouldn't say right now because the beta's over and you can't go
Yeah.
and play this.
Yeah. I was gonna say this. The Necro is kind of also broken in D3, so it's not like a
Yeah.
huge surprise.
Man, I thought the same thing. It was, I put like maybe, oh man, I want to say 90 hours into a necro on D3, and I thought the exact same thing. Like from the very get go, you get that corpse explosion ability, and it's just, you know, uh, nothing but ease after that. Nothing but blowing up everything in your path without really thinking much about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the environment's cool. And then so the other big thing though, going back to just like the story in the world, is that the narrative and the direction of the game is way better than it's ever been in Diablo.
Mm.
You'll go into a house, let's say. There's a cool cutscene early on where you go into an abandoned house and you're rummaging through it, and then you pick something up and the camera just like it slowly pans into the scene. It gets closer and closer, and then it moves to the door. It's all in one shot too. And then the cutscene starts. You get this guy that comes in, da da da. It's done very, very, like, it's the most cinematic Diablo there's ever been. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff with like camera work and yeah, it's
How much of that do you think is from picking up Rod Ferguson from Coalition?
probably a lot. I mean, what is he directing it?
Yeah, because he left the Gears team to go work on Diablo. I think he's, I want to say, game director.
Yeah, so probably a lot. Uh, it very, very much does feel like the next logical step or the next generation of Diablo in that sense. I even with 2, and I mean I didn't play much of 2, but like D3, all the cutscenes, it was just skip, 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 skip. I couldn't care less about what they were saying. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they just didn't really try anything that was visually interesting or appealing with the narrative. You know, I know Blizzard is known for their cinematics. That's really their bread and butter. But there really aren't much there aren't much of them in D3 or D2 from what I've seen. Whereas this one, it feels like it's told. There were some instances where I felt like the story was being told as well as like God of War or GTA, even GTA 5. And that, yeah, everything, it just felt like everything flowed from one scene to the next. Nothing felt disjointed, you know? Everything feels like it has a purpose and your goals are very clear. And yeah, I've been more interested in finding out what happens next in this one than with any other one. Lilith is cool. Didn't see her in the demo or in the beta, but I mean, you do kind of see her, but you don't really interact with her. But yeah, she's cool. Can't wait to get more into that. Yeah,
I'm really noticing the lighting.
the lighting is, oh yeah, like it's absolutely gorgeous. That's one thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. Played it on PS5, but I think I'm gonna get it on PC. But either way, it is fucking beautiful. Your character models really, really look good. The one thing, of course, though, that is what we're gonna have to see, what we're gonna have to wait for, is what sort of microtransactions they have involved in the game. Because after making money hand over fist with Immortals, I can't help but imagine that they're going to have some sort of microtransaction system in there.
Well, I'm gonna say this right up top. Blizzard fans are maybe some of the bitchiest I've ever encountered in the whole of my gaming life.
Mm.
Like, and I know there's like it's a rich, like, stiff competition where there's a lot of groups really gunning for that number one spot. I really feel like Blizzard fans take it, and I really don't think that if they're like, we're gonna drop some microtransactions in on this game, that'll like they cannot put in anything that has any impact on gameplay whatsoever, or
Yeah.
else their fucking offices are gonna get burnt down. Like there's just no two ways around it, man. Like after Diablo Immortal, like they salted the earth. They can never do microtransactions again. Not that way. They just can't.
It's funny you say that though. Yeah, you're 100% right about those fans in particular being maybe excessively bitchy because they are already complaining about that specific thing. A lot of people, at least from what I've seen on Reddit and Blizzard forums, I did a little bit of sleuthing, and there is a consensus that people think that the deluxe versions and the ultimate versions are essentially doing that for players. They're going to give them a head start on the game and make their characters stronger. I know I was shaking my head at that too. I'm like, no, bullshit. Like getting 3-day early access is not making your character stronger. You
Oh
know, it's
yeah,
not.
like if it's just early access, who gives a fuck?
That's
That's
what it is.
fine.
Yeah, people are like, yeah, oh no, this is bullshit. These players are gonna have 72 hours of a head start on us. I'm like, wait, what? First off, every fucking game that comes out nowadays has 3-day early access if you pre-order. Like that is not
Yeah,
that is
that's
not exclusive to Blizzard and Diablo.
yeah, that's bog standard shit, man. Like who cares?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, like if that's all they do, then like I don't care. That's fine. Who cares?
totally, 100%. Yeah, no, I can live with if you want to go the Street Fighter route, I can live with 1,000 pieces of microtransaction content as long as it's all cosmetic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that problem gets better or worse if Microsoft buys Activision?
Um,
Because
I
they're all
think that
about being for the gamer,
I
but
think better.
also if everything's on Game Pass, they've got to sell something. There's
Diablo.
a lot of microtransactions, something like Halo.
Oh,
mm, yeah, but what kind are those? What kind of shit do you see in Halo Infinite?
I feel like it was mostly cosmetic, but
Okay.
they did have. I feel like there was some kind of gameplay advantage you could gain from buying cards.
I
God,
feel
that was
like
feels like a
it'll
long time ago.
it'll get better and then it'll get worse. If the merger does go through for the first year, 18 months, maybe 2 years, I think Microsoft will make sure to sort of save face and do everything that they can to make it seem like they're, for the gamer. But eventually, once the heat from all that dies down and people forget, yeah, you'll start to see them bringing in the microtransactions. Might not necessarily be for Diablo, maybe it will, but yeah, I think that for the first couple years, let's say, their Activision, Blizzard, etc. games are probably going to be a little bit more player based just because I mean that's got to be a terrible look for them if they aren't.
I did see that the one of the Redfall developers was saying the thing you're not supposed to say, and saying
Mm.
that yeah, we had a PS5 version, but Microsoft came storming in here and said, "Stop it."
Brutal.
Meanwhile, they're
Brutal.
trying to tell every legal authority on earth that no, we would never
Man,
do that. We love competition.
that sucks too because the best part of Deathloop, I thought, was the haptic feedback. Playing it on the PS5 with the
Yep.
haptic feedback. Game feels fucking great on that controller. So that is too bad that I won't be able to get that with Redfall. Although I don't know if I'm actually going to play that game, but we'll see.
Saw some questionable opinions.
Some questionable opinions. Yeah, I know we got a member or two on the team that thinks it's going to be the next Outriders. So that
Boy,
what's
what a complicated half curse of a statement. God, this is gonna be the next Outriders. Ah, ooh, is it? Okay.
The next 6 out of 10?
oh,
Yeah,
the
the
best
next
6 out of 10 you'll play this year.
yeah, fucking top of the six pile.
Y-
That's where that's gonna go.
Yeah, baby.
No, no, it's gonna be better than
It,
Outriders.
it, it, it- it's going to be better, and I think it'll be better. I mean, you could play Outriders. Was Outriders on Game Pass day one?
Yep, it was.
Okay. Okay. Well, fuck. I still haven't touched that, so I don't know if I'll play Redfall.
You're not missing.
Mm. But yeah, D4. D4 is cool. Looking forward to checking out more of it. Very much so.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
So what about the news? We kind of touched on it. Redfall a little bit, but I saw you pulled some cool stuff there.
Oh yeah. Um, just some stuff I hardly know anything about. Apparently, they're making a God of War style Ninja Turtles game.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, fucking
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Man, this looks so good.
Based on the last Ronin comic, which if I'm remembering correctly is one where all the turtles and Splinter die except for one.
yeah,
Mikey?
So it's like
Mikey, I believe.
the
yeah.
last turtle.
Hmm. But I think even through the last Ronin, they don't really reveal which of the turtles survived. I think it's just like kind of hinted at that it was Mikey, right? Are you guys familiar
Yeah,
with that story?
vaguely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't in the article I'm reading, they do not mention which one it is.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll be honest. I was like the first the first time I heard of this sort of combination of game, I'm like, dude, this might be one of the best multiplayer games ever. I can't wait to get in there with 4 people and rip shit up. But I guess it's really not going to be conducive to that, is it? The story,
No, no,
yeah,
not
no,
particularly.
Man, I think
no.
arguably that's better because if they're using God of War as the template, you
Yeah.
need one turtle, you don't know which turtle it is. That's 4 different playstyles at least uh, to match up to the God of War axe and blades and spear combat.
Hmm.
Yeah, the one
That could be
image that they
awesome.
show is that the dude has all of the weapons. The nunchucks, the broken sword, the bow staff. Um, yeah. Uh, I don't know anything about it. It was just like, ah, it looks cool. It looks cool as hell. I love the turtles.
Did we hear who's making it?
Uh,
Polygon? No.
no.
Paramount Global.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
They have money at least.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Paramount Global. That's all I'm seeing here.
Okay.
yeah. So who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen there? Um, yeah. We'll wait for more details on that, but I think they just wanted to drop the news because we're kind of all up in that turtle shit right now because of the movie coming out later this year.
The movie and the fucking stellar game last year that
Yeah,
totally reinvigorated my love for the turtles.
yeah, man.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
yeah, what else? What else is
Well, I saw that the Ubisoft says they're pulling out of E3 after previously saying that they were going to be at E3.
like a week or two ago they said they were going.
Yeah. So Ubisoft's not going to be there. Sony's of course is not going to be there. Xbox, is Xbox going to be there? I don't think so. And then Nintendo of course not cuz they're never there. So like what what the fuck is E3 even going to be this year, man?
Last I read they have 0 confirmed publishers. So,
Ouch.
like they've got to cancel.
Like
They don't even have any indie
I mean,
developers,
that might have been
publishers.
hyperbolic what I was reading. It was on Twitter, so completely
Right.
unverified.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So the Assassin's Creed publisher said it will hold its own separate event in Los Angeles the same week as E3. Um. Yeah. So basically, what's gonna happen is we're gonna get all these fucking prezzies and all these events happening around the same time, and everybody's just being all shitty and be like, "No, it's not part of a single event. We're not going to coordinate. We're going to compete with each other for airtime." It's like the Super Bowl happening on 7 fucking channels. Nobody's gonna get any fucking coverage. It was already so bad. Now it's gonna be so much worse. We're like cannibalizing the fucking this like incredibly valuable piece of fucking airtime to the point where it's absolutely worthless.
I think that's 100% a consequence of Twitch and streaming culture because it's a battle out there. It is a battle to get the viewers. There's a limited number of them, and they all want to watch at the same time. So you want to beat out your rival. You want to have a better show, get more viewers, get more reach. And I don't know. It feels like all the companies are kind of leaning into that in a way that they didn't when E3 was a thing. It was a competition for sure, but it was very respectful where, you know, Xbox would have their turn, and then Sony would have their turn, and then
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo would have their turn. Sprinkle in the Square Enixes and the Ubisofts and the Electronic Arts. But hey, now it's kill or be killed, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go right to the source and see if they have any any like anybody coming. All right, yeah, see the schedule, the new E3 experience. Let's check this shit out. Um
While you're doing that, I will just say that for Ubisoft, I hope to God they show off this Star Wars game that they're talking about.
yeah, that'd be rad.
Sounds like it's just like galactic Assassin's Creed with blasters. I'm into.
Yeah. Nothing really in the schedule right now. They haven't pegged anything down. Surprising no one.
Oh boy, E3.
E3 2023 attendees. Who's coming, baby? Who's fucking coming?
I mean, we were talking about this before the show that there was some problems with bad behavior at GDC, and well,
Ooh,
if E3 doesn't happen, that means people are safe.
safe
Arguably,
from
this
you.
is a good thing for the masses
At,
that want to
oh
party. And
Well,
man, yeah.
yeah, because people well not only were people catching COVID at the game developer conference because they were, heads up. That was absolutely happening. There was like Rohypnol going around in a troubling quantity. Really fucking unfortunate is what it is. So, me, um, which all that is to say, we don't know what E3 is going to look like this year, but it's the end of March, and they're committed money wise. So you're talking about them canceling. I don't think they can do that. I think they put their money where their mouth is a couple of months ago, and
bring in more energy drinks.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, Prime. Get Logan Paul involved. Nice.
it's basically just gonna be 1,000 fucking influencers wandering around with their cameramen or with their own cameras, filming each other, filming themselves, and you'll just sort of like walk around the space, and you just see like every second person you see is gonna be like, "Hey, it's Shitbird McGee. Welcome to day one of E3. I'm here streaming it live for all my adoring fans." And it's just like,
Beautiful. Doesn't that
is there anyone else there?
doesn't that sound like something, dear listener, that you would want to spend $2,000 on? A nice round trip.
Yeah. So
Uh,
just no publishers, no developers, no companies, just just a big enclosure for influencers and gamers. Just lock them in there for a week and see who comes out. Uh,
Makes you long for the days when we threw ourselves to the wolves to distill that bullshit down into something that you could read in 3 minutes or watch a 30-second video. Doesn't
yeah.
it? Ah, life.
Hmm. Yeah. So, if there is anything to report on at E3, we will definitely do it. As it stands, it's probably just going to be us catching some prezzies, talking about those prezzies. We'll do like a daily recap. Like they'll run the prezzies, we'll watch them when we can, and then we'll get together for a round table every night and be like, "All right, guys, here's what happened. Here's what matters. Here's what doesn't." That last list probably kind of long. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a facetious little shitbird, but you know,
Shitbird McGee.
yeah, facetious little shitbird McGee. Yeah. But no, I think that'll be the way to consume E3 is an hour at a time in the evening with us once all the hubbub dies down, because you simply cannot watch 3 streams at once. Or if you do try, don't you're just gonna give yourself some sort of weird new kind of headache they don't have a name for yet.
I'm going to go even beyond that. Don't watch all the streams at once. We'll watch all the streams at once, and then you watch our stream of us watching the streams and
Yeah.
trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll do a roundtable discussion. We'll tell you everything you need to know.
All three of us are
Skip.
watching something.
From
Yeah, we'll,
the
we'll skip all the shit that doesn't matter. So sorry, PC Game Show in advance.
yeah.
We're almost certainly not talking about you. Yeah, I mean, like, that was the one. That was the one where you would like, okay, who's the newest person on the team? You get to cover the game show.
Enjoy.
Yeah. 20 minutes of talk about the newest, hottest, most fuckable processor. And like 9 games that that's coming out on consoles and 4 that are only PC. And it's just like, God, what are we doing here, guys?
I can't remember which one of you it was, but I did see somebody said that they announced a Spider-Man release date, and that
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
we fucking called it last time on this
Oh.
show.
Yeah.
100%. But I mean, what's funny about this is I know they have since confirmed, but they didn't announce a release date. As far as I understand, it was leaked essentially by
By the voice actor
actor.
who plays Venom. Yeah.
Whoops.
He was just
Whoopsie.
he posted like a retraction thing. He was like, no, I don't know anything about release dates. Don't listen to me. I was just I was very heat
Yeah.
exhausting from the sauna. I'm sorry. And then like a week later, Sony's like,
God damn
coming
it.
out in
Yeah,
September.
god damn it. It's coming out in September. Thanks, Sony.
And
mean-
imagine that. Venom dies in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy,
fucking
right?
sure
Like,
this guy never works again.
no, they'll kill him off screen in between games. It's fine.
No, I think we get Venom's head on a pike by the end of it. Just to
You don't want
confirm,
to take the
know?
Mandalorian approach of having Venom die in a different show, a different game. Like in the Wolverine
Yeah.
game, Venom will die.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting.
It'll all be fine, and then you'll play Wolverine, and they'll slice him into ribbons. And be like, oh, that sucks. What a shame. Oh no.
For those that don't know what I'm referring to is that important things about the show The Mandalorian happened in the Boba Fett show. So if you watched Mandalorian season 2 and then came back to watch season 3 without seeing the Boba Fett show, it makes no fucking sense.
Brutal. Who
Yeah.
made that decision?
Filoni.
Same people making all the Star Wars questionable decisions.
Jesus Christ. Maybe
Well,
that's stupid decision making. That maybe that's why Sony or Disney needs to lay off 7,000 employees this week. Yeah.
7,000.
7,000. Yeah, they just announced today.
It's
7K.
it's it's getting to the point where whenever they knock off like a small town's worth of employees, one of these companies, it doesn't even always make the news. Like I had no idea that Disney downsized by 7 grand. That's fucking nutty.
Disney, yeah, man, it's just another in a long, long line of companies that have downsized over the past year or two. Fuck.
Not the time to be in the job market. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Um,
So, well, I've got some lighter news if we want to talk about
Shoot,
that
hook
for
it
a
up,
hot
man.
Remember Gran Turismo 4?
Yeah.
this is a
That came
cool
out
story.
19 years ago, and apparently people have just found cheat codes in Gran Turismo 4.
Nice. What do they do?
Man, they do crazy shit.
Yeah.
They unlock everything. They beat all races. It's crazy.
Yeah. From what I read, it sounds like it's probably a dev mode that got left in, but it has something to do with uh, an entire year of in-game days to have to elapse before they can be activated,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
a complicated button prompt. So it's
Which is like, dude, how the fuck did this person find these codes?
Oh,
19
like a
years after the fact.
yeah,
Taz tool
Taz.
I
assisted speed
guess.
run.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. Because
Uh,
you come up with like bots and systems and shit to like it's like I need you to just run this game like perfectly. Can you do that? And you're like, yep.
shit.
Hmm. But
Interesting.
That's my
interesting
guess.
that it didn't get caught by like data mining.
Yeah.
All these games have
Yeah.
all been dumped onto the internet and all the codes out there. Should have
Yeah.
deep, deep and dark.
Well,
Well,
especially the
if it's
Gran Turismo games.
yeah.
There have been people playing the earlier Gran Turismos, ever since they came out.
Yeah.
Some people just never stopped. Yeah.
And I haven't played it in a long time, but apparently it holds up pretty good.
Yeah.
GT4,
Yeah.
especially on like modern emulator with decent resolution stuff.
But can you play it in VR?
Not yet.
Yeah, yeah. You know what else you won't be able to play come June? It's MultiVersus.
That's right. They
Thi-
fucking
This is a funny story.
Funny,
well,
haha, or
funny.
I mean, I think so.
yeah.
Well,
But
like
but then again, I don't play the game.
so they're like, okay, this was a beta, guys. We're shutting down the beta in June. You spent a bunch of money, you're not getting it back. No refunds, baby. See you in 2024.
Like there are a lot of people too convinced that they won't see us in 2024.
Oh yeah, like you tried to make a Smash clone, it fizzled a little bit. Like I don't know,
Oh, dude,
it didn't stay in the conversation in any meaningful way.
99% of its player base dropped off.
Oh, those are not good numbers.
It
Those are
it
bad.
didn't fizzle, it died. It
Okay.
died. Yeah, so I mean, maybe it's wise that they're taking it offline, you know? Maybe when they bring it back, they'll be able to sort of reignite that hype, but I doubt it. But I doubt it. The
Yeah.
only way they're going to do that is if they come out with a roster of characters double in size,
Yeah.
you know?
You've got to step to the playing field that Smash Ultimate has cultivated, and that's like it's like a 90 character roster. Hey,
Fucking 100
built
stages.
yeah, built and grown and whatnot over the course of like a couple of years, and it's just like, listen, we have the arena fighter right now. We don't like you have to come in with both barrels fucking red hot, man, if
Yeah.
you want to make any difference in that playing field. It's choked out. Yeah. So they were fucked from the jump, and it's just taken them this long to realize it.
They now with multiverses, they're kind of in a unique position though that they at least have enough properties to pull from where theoretically
Yep.
they could have a competitive roster, compared to Smash.
Yeah, they just figure they would drip feed it through like
Mhm.
microtransactions and free to play bullshit,
Yep.
not realizing, like a lot of developers didn't, that the high watermark for that has been passed, and it's because the development cycles are so long that like by the time they get their shit to market, that particular trend has kind of receded in saturation. So they didn't know, they didn't realize the time has come and gone.
Yeah.
So so they're gonna have to like fundamentally reevaluate the business model for multiverses if they want to bring it back, because like clearly, because if the free to play drip feed content model was going to work, it would have, and they wouldn't be shutting it down. They would just roll right from beta to full 1.0 release in a
Exactly.
year while like keeping people up to date. But the fact that like they're like cutting cords, like we can't afford to keep the fucking servers up because like nobody's playing this goddamn game. So we have to like take it back to the lab and completely change how it's delivered. Um, in order
Yeah.
to get people to like spend enough money that we make some of it back. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, the conventional wisdom is always don't buy a game unless you're happy with the state it's currently in, for early access and things like that, because it may never change. But for something that relies so heavily on being competitive and being online, that's a whole different ballgame. If that becomes a general practice, where does it end? How soon is too soon to take something offline that people have paid for and now they can't play it? Aye,
That's
yeah,
that's
bullshit.
a slippery
Yeah.
one.
That's
yeah.
bullshit. At the very least, they should have left it so you could play it offline.
Yeah.
Not great, but I mean, it's something.
Should have sent everybody a copy of Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A rip of Brawl.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
There's a
100%.
brawl mod out there that you can get that like makes it more like melee. They could just send everybody that with instructions on how to install it.
Zero legal repercussions there.
Yeah, fuck no. They can't be in any worse trouble than they are now, right?
Nintendo, not known for litigating. So,
Mm-mm.
No, never.
speaking of Nintendo, apparently Tears of the Kingdom gameplay tomorrow. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I don't know. People are all like salivating about that shit, but like they'd have to be 10 very rich minutes in order for us to really get any kind of look at like what's happening next. Like it's just like here's 10 minutes of all the new shit because you know what
Yep.
Breath of the Wild looks like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and like
We'll see a lot of that wall swimming ability, I'm sure.
yeah. Or like just it'll be just vehicles. It's just like listen,
Oh,
here's 10 minutes on how to build a bunch of wild Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts nonsense.
I'd be into that.
Hopefully it's like there's not even like hopefully it's just like listen, the ability to build ships and ground and water machines is there with the physics and with the components. We're not going to like give you ships or anything. You just have the tools, build whatever the fuck you want, go crazy, It's just like this is the piece that lets you float. This is the pieces of the wheels, And then you just like put it together however the fuck you want. So you get people making like massive clumsy fucking airships or like weird like trains that go through the sky that like don't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I want them to just like blow the doors wide open and be like, I don't know, man, here's the tools, go fucking crazy. If it gets too big, the game will literally crash. And they're like, sick, time to find and ride that line.
Yeah, the game's gonna have been out for like 7 days, and someone's gonna have recreated all the ancient beasts from the last game.
Oh, yeah.
100%
Fuck yes.
1-to-1 recreations somehow.
Yeah, man.
They said it wasn't possible, but hey, we did it anyway.
That's right. Just give us tools, man. Just give us the tools. We will figure that shit out.
It'd
Absolutely.
be, it'd be cool if you could download or upload your creations. You know,
Ooh.
I know it won't be there, but I find myself often with great ideas for that sort of stuff, and the execution is never there. You know, and I always end up wanting just somebody to do the work for me.
And people are reliably dumping and emulating Switch games though now. So this is anything like Breath of the Wild, they'll have that baby cracked and available to play on PC in glorious 4K, and I'm sure someone will mod it to
That's
upload
a
and
good
download.
call. You know, I might just wait. Like, how long, if you had to guess, how long do you think before that actually happens?
Um, a month at the absolute outset.
I might
It's
just
hard to
wait.
say.
I'm sure it'll be up quick, but it probably won't work.
Yeah. Yep.
Who
I'm
knows?
Oh man.
I kind of draw the line at emulating current gen, last gen kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Only interested.
Yeah, but man, this fucking Switch, I'll tell you what, every time I turn it on and it struggles to load the shop, I'm like,
Oh,
guys, it might be time for a new system here, huh?
at very least, bring back some of the Wii music so that while the eShop is loading for a minute and a half, you get to listen to sick tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. It's not great. It's not a great. Oh well. Here's what I was gonna say. I've stalled enough. Somebody, Doug Bowser or somebody like that, was asked, "Hey, or is there going to be a new successor to the Switch?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're working on it right now. We're very excited about it." That is all we're going to hear about this fucking system for like a year and a half. Doug Bowser came out and was like, "Yeah, it exists and we're working on it." It's like, cool. See you in 2026, I guess.
Yeah.
Ugh.
With Tears of the Kingdom as a launch title for it.
Because you understand that because the current gen PS5 and Series X only really made improvements to processing power and load times. Like graphically, they're like it's more of a lateral move than a jump ahead.
Yeah.
Nintendo probably sees this as an excuse to sit on their fucking Switch until literally the next generation of consoles comes out. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm fucking wrong.
Oh,
Like
fuck. James, it's just too plausible and it hurts me.
right? 10 years of Nintendo Switch, baby. Get fucking ready.
Well, in that
They
time, we'll
look,
probably live to see some poor bastard have to port Cyberpunk 2077 onto the Switch.
yeah, they will find the remains of that man at the bottom of a cliff somewhere because he was just like, "Listen, I tried, guys. My job is on the line. My family is very hungry. I hope the life insurance kicks in. See you never." I don't know.
Listen, they did it with The Witcher, and that is technically a video game. It it
You know
technically
what?
is
You
The
know what?
Witcher.
I take it all back. The dude's gonna crush it. He's gonna make Cyberpunk 2077 a Switch game. Maybe call it Cyberpunk 1035.5,
I like that.
2024, just it's like a not quite as advanced, but we're getting there.
Yeah. All right.
No, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. His family will eat well and grow fat and happy throughout the long winter. Um, whoever this person is. Yeah, no Switch successor until 2027. Yes, because it came out in 2017. No Switch successor until 2027. Calling it now.
Watch them unveil it at E3. They're
Hey,
getting ready. They're getting ready to
I
just
Day
drop
and
it.
date in
nobody
stores.
Yeah.
nobody would be happier than me to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it turns out that I'm like blowing smoke up my own ass and it's just like they're getting ready to drop that bomb this summer, fucking great. I'm over the
Yeah.
moon.
Yeah.
But like they don't have to, so they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think historically, if I'm remembering correctly, Nintendo shaves prices before they announce something.
Mm.
And Switch is still costs the same as when it launched. So unless we see that $50, $100 price cut to blow out some old stock, I don't think it's imminent.
Yeah, it might not be.
What do we know?
Nothing. I don't know shit. I've never known things. If I ever said something that sounded like I knew something, it was a lie. I've never known anything in my entire life. Yeah, sorry. Sorry to disappoint all my fucking fans and readers. I've never known anything.
Well, the nice thing is we've got to share in your blissful ignorance,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll continue to do so. I promise you
That's
that.
right.
All right. Maybe we should get out of here.
Yeah, maybe
We've
let's do that.
exhausted the news and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
what do you guys got on the horizon? What's coming up next?
I'm looking forward to the Mega Man Battle Network collection
Hmm?
and Advance Wars 1 and 2. Can't wait for that shit to come out next month. It's going to be dope, dope, dope. Because I've never played the Mega Man games, the Battle Network ones, and it's like a portable RPG series. And like a lot of people have like a lot of their like deep childhood memories heavily invested in this shit. So, want to dip a toe in, see what it's all about, see what they're like, see how they measure up. Play a Mega Man game that doesn't rely on Twitch reflexes and incredible patience. Could be good.
Yeah, my next month top dog that I'm looking forward to is the Jedi Survivor game.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The
Yes.
story trailer just came out for that. Fuck man, it looks pretty good.
Well, be sure to come along with us on our Jedi. What the fuck was the first one called? Fallen Knight,
Fallen Order,
Happy Night, Fallen Order.
Happy Night,
Uh,
Jedi Happy Night. Yep.
be sure to come along with us through April on the playthrough of that. In
Yeah.
anticipation, leading up to the release of the sequel.
I think you're gonna enjoy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I fucked around with it a little bit on PS5, and yeah, the PS5 version solves all my issues that I had with the PS4 version. So I'm very much looking forward to actually going through it. But next time, look forward to some sports talk from me because I have been playing a lot of MLB The Show 23,
Nice.
and we'll be playing a lot of EA Sports PGA Tour, their new golf game that's coming out first week of April, I believe. We'll be playing a lot of that. So,
All right.
yeah.
Excellent.
Well,
Sounds
join
good.
us back here for that. Viewers, listeners, we appreciate you. Thanks for being vaguely interested in the nonsense that we spew on a bi-weekly basis here on Press X Podcast. We do
Yeah.
appreciate that. And stay tuned to the channel. Check out Rhett while he's streaming. Lots of good stuff going on there. So don't be shy. Come say hello. And take care of yourselves out there. We'll see you next time right back here on Press X Podcast.
Bye-bye.